Guitar building is all about the basics, the very, very basics. And of course, the first thing you need to think about is how the musician is going to play. And if they don't know where they are, you are scuppered. So side dot inlays it is. And they are at 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 19, 21, and in this case, 24. And you just double and occasionally triple check against the inlays in the front. That's to make sure that I get this marked out in the correct place. You can never underestimate the benefits of having a very, very good ruler. And of course a very sharp pencil. Now, I know where I am, I know which fret positions to go in, and basically, doing a little bit of quick math in my head, I find the center. What's half of 27? 13 and a half. After triple checking the positioning of these side dots, it's time to mark them out. I've built I think this is 130th guitar I will have completed, and I still am paranoid about side dots. There's nothing worse than having a squinting 12th fret or 24th fret pair, or something slightly out of line. Now, this is Jessica. This is my, I think, a leather worker's bradawl. It sits in my hand and it's a thing of beauty. I picked it up at a junk shop for £1 or £2, and I've had to replace that with a carpet maker's needle at some point. But using my thumb to support it, and obviously the positions I marked out earlier, I specify where I'm going to be drilling next. Now I'm going to be using a little brad or center point drill bit, 3mm, to match the diameter of the brass rod. And this is going to be fun. Even as I'm drilling, I'm checking to make sure it's in the right place. A little bit late now, but still. So we are playing around with metal, and I've just double checked that the holes are pretty much exactly the same diameter as the brass tube. I'm not going to bother filling the insides yet, I'm going to do that afterwards. However, because it is the exact same size, I'm going to need to just make it a little bit pointier to help it go in easier. And this is using a second cut fine file. This is one of the things about guitar building. We use files much more often than most normal woodworkers. There we go, that should just slip in. Yeah, that's going to be a lovely tight fit. Yeah, awesome. Okay, now I could, if I wanted to, slice off a whole bunch of thin pieces with, I don't know, a little cutting disc, a diamond cutting file and a Dremel or something like that. However, and I would do that if the walls of this tube were particularly thin. The walls are not. This has got I think the wall is about 3/4 of a millimetre thick, so it's nice and chunky. So I am actually just going to bang them in as such and then hacksaw them flush. Obviously using glue. So when you are playing around with super glue, which is what I'm going to use, it's absolutely essential that you wear goggles. If you've watched any of my videos, you've probably seen me talking about getting super glue in my eyes, and I have, and it doesn't really hurt if you get it out fast enough, but the potential for pain is definitely there. Aha! Little brass-headed hammer. One of the few hammers I own that is actually new. And as I'm banging that, I'm realising that I'm flattening off the other end that I've just fired. So, let me think about that a little bit more. I really like that. Okay, so no super glue in my eyes. I want some cyanoacrylate hardener. If I spray this here, I'm going to harden what's on there. Not a good idea. I hate this stuff, but it really does. It does its job. It smells horrible, and it's got all sorts of warnings on it. It's nasty, nasty, nasty stuff. But you know, it is necessary, unfortunately. So once that's dry, I'm going to get a cutting. With this baby. Now I'm going to use a lovely old vintage hacksaw. You know my proclivity towards collecting antique tools. I'm not cutting absolutely flush with the fretboard. I'm going to file away some of the excess. I don't want whatever glue on the outside hasn't cured properly to get on my blade, and I want to leave it to cure for a little bit longer, even though I have used accelerator. And thinking about this, I'm going to clamp the neck down. Somehow. I've lost every single F-clamp I have. Aha! There we go, that ought to make that easier. Perfect. I was somewhat worried that it was going to buckle the sides of the tube as I cut through, which is exactly what would happen if you tried to use side cutters or something of the sort. But this is working rather well. I'm using the same process, leaning leaning the file up against this corner and slowly moving until it's flush with the binding. You also hold the tool with as many fingers as you possibly can to ensure that it stays nice and stable. The filing has filled the centre of each of the tubes with a little bit of scarf. I can't remember what the word is now. Anyway, we remove it with a drill bit that is the same size as the hole. You have to make sure that your glue is cured properly. Otherwise you are likely to take the whole inlay out. While playing around trying to figure out how to make these 3mm dots in the front of the fretboard, fingerboard, fretboard, that's surprisingly stressful, trying to figure out which one of those to say. I messed around on the engineer's lathe, and this is a little piece of the Claro Walnut that has been turned. This is the first tool that I have ever stolen, borrowed from my toddler. There is a first time for everything. I was all the way through thinking how I was going to make my own dowel mechanically, when I suddenly realised, oh my goodness, there's a tool for that already. So, and there we have it. So back to the super glue and eye goggles. I was worried about the taper, and I might yet have to do a little bit of work with this scalpel. This is the first test piece, and we'll see what happens. But I suspect that this will work first time. Goodness, I hate the smell of that stuff. Now, my lovely little Japanese saw. It is a thing of beauty. It is a little dangerous trying to cut this so soon after gluing it, but we'll see. What's life without taking a few risks, eh? Perfect. We now have a Claro Walnut centered section of brass tubing, which is going to look stunning. And I shall now take a close-up of it for you to see. And here is the first attempt, and it is a successful one. On for the next 10 or 11 dots now. They've all been glued in and everything's cured. It's time to file it all flush. Final stage is some sandpaper.